Good afternoon everyone, thank you very much for tuning in to my latest video. Just before I get started, I'd just like to say how thankful I am for everyone that continues to support and subscribe, and for any new subscribers that's obviously came aboard, you're very welcome. Just before I get into the video, just a reminder on, I've started a membership thing where it's $5.99 a month. Now, as I said in that podcast on Saturday to anyone that's seen it, I'll never not help anyone. I'll always reply to your emails and your comments, and I will help you as much as I can, because it just takes a couple of minutes to do that. However, one of the member perks is one-on-one calls, so I think it's important that I keep that to a member perk, because if I was to start taking calls from non-members, it would mean that some of the members that I've got would suffer because I wouldn't be able to keep in contact with them. And calls can take a very long time. I know people are in difficult positions and that's why they take a long time. So, I mean, even if, like I say, it's $5.99 a month, so if you want to subscribe it for a month and just use it for a month and cancel it, that's absolutely fine as well. I wouldn't expect you to continue to subscribe if you weren't going to be using that. So that's really what it's about. It's like a £6 donation for the month, if you like. Because it's never been about money. This has never been about money. But when it takes up that much time, you sort of need to charge something. So it's just a little reminder for anyone that wants to do that. So as you can see from the title of the video, I've had a little battle with a case manager today. I mentioned on the last video there that I was actually helping my mum out with her deductions, etc. Now, I've noticed in the comment section, there's been a few people who've came back to me and said, Alan, I've watched your video and I'm having these deductions taken off, problems with earnings, etc. And I'm going and putting the payment disputes through, and they're coming back and telling me it's correct, and I don't know what else to do. There's nowhere else I can go, and I really do feel your pain because I've suffered with that myself today. I had a snotty little case manager come back. Well, my mum was messaging him first, and I'd acted on her behalf the other day there, or last week, can't remember what day it was, just to obviously put the disputes through. And the case manager who came back very quickly, I might add, it wasn't, I think it was 24 hours or 48 hours he came back, so credit for that. And had said, what is it that you are disputing? So I had said to them that there should be 3 payment disputes on there, because I'd asked the agent to put the information on the history notes as they are supposed to. Now, I know she didn't follow correct procedure simply by looking at our side of the journal, because there is procedures you need to follow and she didn't follow them all. So it's possible there might have been a lack of information there. However, I did say to him, if that information's not on there, I would like to complain, because I specifically asked for it to be put on so that you didn't need to ask me this question. So it was about deductions, housing and advances, because there's been advances taken. We'd established that was actually correct. However, he's came back and said that the housing situation was correct when it wasn't. It's fluctuating, as I've seen it many times. And he came back, this is correct. I said, it's not correct. So I says, look, can you put the payment dispute through? But he was refusing to do it, right? So I said, look, send him a message and say you want a call back and pass consent to me, and I'll deal with it. So that's what happened. And again, credit, because he came back very quickly, because this snivelling little idiot who I think his balls probably haven't dropped yet, because it sounded like he probably still screams when he puts aftershave on after shaving. Anyway, he comes back very quickly, might I add, and says to me, well, he'd passed consent over, and I was talking to him, and I can't even remember exactly what I'd said, but I was quite loud, and I was professional, I wasn't aggressive, I used the correct terminology, and I had said to him about the deductions, and I says, look, there's false benefit recoveries on here, and he said, right, okay. He said, well, I can't help with tax credits. And I said, well, I know you can't help with tax credits because this is universal credit. However, it's universal credit that's taking the money. Now he said to me, tried to say to me that we've had information from debt management that we need to take this. And I said, right, okay, well, why hasn't the claimant been informed of the overpayment as you're required to do by law? Because how can you take a deduction without someone first accepting that they owe that money and secondly consenting to exactly how much was going to be taken? And I put that to him. He again then said to me that you need to go to debt management, and I said, look, this is just evidence that you're obviously new here, because you can't go to debt management for that. They don't deal with disputes. The only thing that debt management will do for you is if you have had one of these letters and you call up and you give them their bank details so that you can pay the money back that's owed, and you agree how much you can afford each month. That's the only thing they'll deal with. That's why so many people get sent back to the Universal Credit Helpline, and I put that to him, no answer to it. So I think he probably knew that. But I'd said to him as well, I said, look, you're obviously coming back and gaslighting people. This is what they're doing. They're coming back and saying to people that this is correct. Now, he had the audacity to send the current assessment period's information across in the journal. And I was like, well, it's not that information though. I've went right back to when the claim started again. And he was very, very calm, very confident. And this is someone that's done the job before. So I'd said to him, I says, look, I want that payment dispute put through. I demand it, as I'm informing people to do. And then I mentioned to him about the housing, and he said, well, the housing's correct. I said, it's not for this assessment period. It's going back years. It fluctuates from assessment period to assessment period without the relevant change being reflected in the claimant's journal. I said, I would like to provide a screenshot to prove that. Do you know what he said to me? How are you going to do that? I said, how am I going to do that? I said, well, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to request to yourself, mate, that you need to create an agent to do and send an assignment to the claimant's to-do list so that I could then screenshot what I was talking about to send it to you. He was silent after that. He didn't say a word. Because first and foremost, right, he's coming back and asking someone who's acting on behalf how you're going to send proof across of what you're saying. Now, and I said this, what if someone that doesn't know this terminology or how this system works, which is the vast majority of universal credit claimants, and you say, well, how are you going to send a screenshot? And then, I mean, if the claimant had then said, well, can you not arrange for me to do that? What was he going to say? Oh no, it can't be done. He must have done, because why would he be saying that to me? How are you going to do that? Very, very simple, mate. Follow the process, and I explained that to him. So that's the terminology that you need to use. The terminology is, I demand the payment dispute be sent, and I want you to create an agent to put onto my to-do list. Or a task to put onto the to-do list, or sign whatever terminology you want to use, so that I can then screenshot and send it across. And that's what you need to do. You need to go through every single last statement and we'll go right back through the journal and match it up to the assessment period. Now, as I've sent him this, he kept coming back and saying this was correct, and there was we'd established that the advances, that was actually incorrect, and we gotten the months wrong and when it was taken out. That was fine, and I'd said that. I said that's actually correct. But then when I'd sent across the screenshot of the house in, because it says that there's 2 spare bedrooms, and it's like, well, there's never been 2 spare bedrooms in here. It's just never happened. And I said that to him. It's the whole time Mum said it's the whole time that I've lived here. There's never been 2 spare bedrooms in this house. And when we go back to the journal, it doesn't reflect the change. So I'd said to him in the message, I said, this is what proves that that this system is wrong, and yet you've came back and said to me that that's actually right. And I'd said to him on the phone, like, I don't know how you sleep at night, mate. And I said it again in the message, it's how you sleep at night is a mystery. Because he knows what he's doing, because I told him that. I says, look, mate, you're coming back and gaslighting people, because that's what you've been told to do. And he never said a word. Now, if someone had been accused of that, Certainly, if I got accused of anything when I was on the line, talking purely from a script and not the heart, then I would say, look, that's not true. Now, he didn't say a word, so it's obviously true. They will be telling people to do that because so many people have confirmed it in the comments, either from case managers or from agents who have said this is right. Now, I encourage absolutely everyone to check your statements. I keep on saying it. Go right back. Check everything. Don't forget, you can scroll to the bottom as well and use that terminology that's given and stand your ground, because you know something? At the end of that message, after I'd sent that screenshot across, prior to that I'd sent the one with the benefit recovery as well and demanded that be put through. But once I'd sent the one about the house in and said to him that actually this is what proves you're lying and this system's wrong, he still hadn't replied. Now, every single reply today was bang, bang, bang on the money. The phone call, minutes on the money. That's because he thought he was right. He was confident and he thought he was right until I'd proved that he was actually wrong. Now, maybe he's walked out or he's away home with a sore head or something. I don't know, but he's been proved wrong anyway. And as I've asked him, I sent a journal message after that and I said, I also need another to-do, an agent to-do created and put onto the to-do list, because I'd noticed that she'd actually been sent a letter for an overpayment for her wages, but her wages were actually reported in the assessment period. So it said that and how much she'd been overpaid, which was her wage, and I thought, okay. And then we went into the assessment period when the wage had gone on and it was reported. Now, she states very clear that she has to report it, because the statement doesn't get generated. It's as simple as that. So that statement would not have got generated had those earnings not been inserted. And yet she was still sent a letter to say that she'd been overpaid her wages. Honestly, I can't count how often that used to happen. I used to do it all the time, and I actually just had someone in the comments today saying that they'd been underpaid by £300 and they don't know why, and no one could give them an answer. And I encouraged that person to check down their statement. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a carer's allowance deduction. So if you're not receiving carer's allowance and that's on there, same with carer's element, it shouldn't be taken off. But this is what they're doing to people, and now that I don't remember it being that aggressive when I was there, so I'm not tooting my own trumpet or anything, but are they coming back now to try and combat these videos? And this is why I need to make this video, to let you know about this experience, because I said this. I was up. My adrenaline was up. I was ready to do battle. And I know the terminology. And the reason I was like I said, I wasn't aggressive, but I was up. I was ready for the fight. Professionally speaking. So imagine what that does to people who don't know the terminology and don't know the job. So this is why this is how you need to do it, and try and remain as calm as possible while they're gaslighting you. So, I told them, not in so many words, what I thought of them for doing this. Because, and I did use the word that says, how you can do this to other human beings is just beyond me, But that's what they're doing. And I told them, says, you're complicit in this. This agenda that's being brought in you're complicit in it. And people still laugh and they don't want to hear it and all the rest of it. And it's like, burying your head in the sand, it doesn't make it not true. It doesn't make it go away. It just doesn't. It just gets worse. See, that's what happens. It happens in your relationships, in your family. If you've got a conflict or something that's bothering you, don't deal with it. It just never goes away. And it festers. I've experienced that in my own family. I don't speak to my dad. I haven't spoken to my dad for 7 years because of that. So you can't let things fester, because it just gets worse. And that is why, man, that's why I done that video the other day. We need to stand up for ourselves. And this is like a follow-up to that, because it's funny that I done that video and then I ended up having this altercation with this case manager today. So it was meant to be. And like I say, they do not want to give this money back. It's obvious, that's why they're doing it. And there's some brilliant thinkers out there. There's some unbelievably intelligent people out there that's commented on the videos, and some of them come out with some brilliant ideas, yeah, call them that, or concepts of why it's actually happening, and it's true. I mean, these deductions are obviously used to cover things like cost of living payments. And as you'll find in the restart video, which I thought I was going to record that today, but this, with the case manager, had kind of overtaken it a little bit, and I had a few calls to deal with, so it's been a little bit, it's cutting it a little bit fine, so I'm going live tonight. But it's on the restart video, you'll see that of how they're doing it with that as well, and it's going to be quite a good video, I think. So keep your eye out for that. And listen, I know it's difficult, and I know confrontation's not for everybody. Like I've said before, I don't like it, but it has to be done, because at the end of the day, how many people are watching these videos and saying, right, I'm going to phone up and do something about this, and then they're met with that, and they say, look, this is correct, and they're not very helpful, because like he wasn't very helpful. And you know what else he said to me? He says, do you want me to send the information across first that's proving what I'm saying? I said, no, you've already done that, mate, and what you're saying, you've sent me this assessment period and essentially not the information that I'm referring to. So I said, so what I'll do, I'll send you the information first, and then you can send me your information, and I'll join them and match them up, and then we'll make a decision based off of that. What do you say to that? He never said anything, and it's funny because now that I've sent my information proving what I'm saying, he hasn't got back to me with his information. He's not even gotten back to me. In fact, I said to my mum just there before she left, you'll probably have to message them tomorrow for a reminder to send the to-do across so that we can upload that other screenshot. So this is what they're doing, and it leads straight into what I've said in the videos, and with regards to following process, and how can you follow these types of processes and gaslight people, and some people with women, some women with kids, parents with kids that are struggling, and you're telling them this nonsense to try and so they don't get their money back. You're assisting these people. You're complicit in that, however you dress that up. So you can't tell me you're going home at night and you're happy with what you've done in a day. You feel like a good person. We all need to believe we're good people, but are we? And there's a good way to look at it. If someone was videoing your life, would you be happy with it? That's the best way to look at it. And I don't think he could say he would be happy with it, because he's telling lies. He's telling lies. Or like I say, he's deliberately misleading people. Either that, or he doesn't know his arse from his elbow. Either way, he's an incompetent. That's what I told him. See, I've always had problems with people like that, because I've never stood for it. When I was at school, it was the same with teachers. My mouth's always gotten me into trouble, because I've always questioned things. And when I was younger, I used to think I was the problem. And sometimes I was. But now I'm starting to realise why it's been so antagonistic. And someone actually that knew about psychology explained that in the comments the other week there. Just basically that you're just a truth teller, you don't stand for any bullshit, and it actually, just your mere presence in situations can antagonise it. And I'm telling you now, that is exactly what's happened. And there's been times in my life like where I've looked and been in situations and thought, what's that all about? What did I do there? I didn't do anything, it was just my mere presence. So that's the way it goes, and that's why you need to stand up for yourself, and now you know how you can do that. I would like to, just before I thank everyone actually, and anyone that's going through this, even though when you get the to-dos and you provide what you're saying and the payment disputes go through, you still need to go through the complaints process, and that's at Wolverhampton Post Handling Site B. Just type that into Google and it'll come up along with the email. So that's what you do, and then you take it through the complaints process anyway, because the amount of times that people have sent me screenshots to show that they've been lied to by case managers, and it's been proven at tribunals that they've been lied to. That's why you need to do it, whether you get your money back or not, which you will get it back. You've just got to persevere and keep going, and just keep using this terminology and keep fighting it, and take the screenshots. And there's so many people that give good advice in the comments as well. I would also like to thank them, because they always say the same. Take all your screenshots for people that's actually been through it. because they're the best people to ask, because they've won. So I'd like to thank everyone just for tuning into this video. Like I say, the restart one, that'll be ready to record and upload tomorrow, so I'll get that sorted, and I'll see you on the live tonight. Thank you very much for joining me. Take care of yourselves.